Paradox has released another dev diary in preparation for a Stellaris console edition to receive the Overlord DLC. As a heads up, all screenshots in this video are said to be a work in progress, so Paradox may change some aspects of this UI. In this dev diary, they extensively cover the introduction of situations. This situation mechanic will not be locked behind a paywall and will be part of the free update that will be coming along with the release of Overlord. The goal of situations stated by the development team is, quote, give players an interactive and informative interface by which to experience current affair event chains and provide a structure that is relatively easy to add new content to, end quote. The situation process is as follows. The situation starts, and then each month the situation will tick up or down based off your response, and your progress through the stages will decide the impact on your empire the situation will have. The further along you are, the more of an impact there will be. There will also be random events that will trigger on the monthly ticks, and situations will give different approaches on how to respond. If the progress bar reaches 0, the situation will end. The situation window shows on the right side the current effect the situation is having on your empire, as well as the end result if it reaches the final stage. The current situations that are being added are resource deficits, planetary uprisings, and if you have the Synthetic Dawn DLC, machine uprisings, which function very similarly to the planetary uprisings. While not mentioned in the dev diary, it is very important for you to know that you can have more than one situation occurring at any given time. In fact, you aren't even limited to one situation of a type at a time. You will be able to have several planets revolting, as well as several deficit situations occurring all at the same time, and their effects do stack. In my experience, it is very common for new players or players who are learning the new mechanic to have one situation occur and for its effects to spark another situation snowballing and feeding off one another. So if you are not quick to resolve the first situation, you might find yourself down a very deep hole. Before I get into the details of this new mechanic, I would also like to quickly mention the fact that they are introducing new storylines as well as the Shroud Walker Enclave, which will only be available if you have the Overlord DLC. The deficit situation and planetary uprising situations have different effects and different results, as well as requiring different responses. First, I will cover the resource deficit situation. Deficit penalties have decreased, at least the initial penalty that is. However, the new penalties increase over time, as you progress through each of the situation stages. The situation will progress faster the larger the deficit. Having a stockpile of resources but a negative production will remove situation progress, but not nearly as fast as having a positive income. So while you can end a situation simply by buying up a large amount of that resource and waiting it out, buying that resource monthly to produce a net income is a better solution as well as a quicker solution. When the situation progress has reached 0, as previously mentioned, the situation will end and no negative effects will continue. The game will offer you several approaches to fix the problem, which will be different according to the situation or what resource you have a deficit in. If you fail to properly respond to the situation and it reaches its final stage, your empire will default faster than a cryptocurrency investor. When you default, your upgraded buildings will be automatically downgraded, and you will get a lump sum for each building that has been downgraded in the resource you had a deficit in. It will also supply several modifiers, some detrimental, some beneficial. The modifiers are as follows: plus 25% to all costs, minus 50% to monthly influence, minus 50% to monthly unity, minus 25% to ship weapon damage, and minus 50% to pop demotion time. Additionally, all of your offensive armies will be disbanded, and 50% of all of your military ships will also be disbanded. Effectively, militarily, you will be absolutely crippled and ripe for invasion. And with the improved AI that they will be introducing, that is most likely exactly what will happen. On the other side of that coin, the massive decrease in time it takes for your pops to demote themselves and vastly decreased upkeep due to your military being borderline wiped, on top of the lump sum of resources you receive from the buildings being downgraded, you will get a chance to recover. If you build up your borders and upgrade the right buildings and build the new buildings you need to be able to recover, you can do it. But there's no way around it. This will be an uphill battle. While this sounds like the game is making it even more difficult to recover from a deficit, you will have quite a bit of time to correct the problem. In fact, more time than in previous versions of the game. If you're smart and you know the game mechanics, this will reward you. If you're not so smart and you don't really know the game mechanics, this will punish you more and more. Now, on to the fun part, Planetary Uprisings.
Fight the Empire!
Currently in Console Edition, let's be honest, Uprisings are a joke. It is very easy to suppress by just tossing some minerals into an army, planting that army on the planet, waiting for the revolt to kick off, and crushing them. Then you can sit back, take a dramatic sip from your tea, laugh dramatically, and pet your cat. Now, that will no longer be the case after this update. All armies, defensive or otherwise, will be immediately removed from the system when the revolt starts, and all military ships that are currently in the systems that they will claim will automatically go missing, as if you have hit the retreat button during combat. So let's go over the mechanics and the stages of a planetary revolt, and then I'll explain what it will look like when they revolt. If a colony has at least 10 pops and less than 25 stability for over a year, a planetary revolt situation will begin. So if you want to stop a rebellion in a very scummy way, get the stability of a planet up to 26 for a small period of time at least once a year. At the start of the situation, there will be small acts of terrorism and raiding, and as time goes on, this will cause more and more instability and unemployment. The stability and unrest will increase due to the unemployment as well. You can get the unrest under control by increasing stability, decreasing unemployment, or placing armies on the planet, as well as strengthening the starbase in that system. Be careful with those last two though. The starbase will be in their control if the revolt is successful, and your armies will go either MIA or if their defensive armies will disappear. As previously mentioned, the situation will give you a few approaches that you can take. You can choose to maintain the current measures, which does nothing, so is the equivalent of sending in the UN peacekeepers. You can distribute amenities, which adds an additional 20 amenities as well as costing 20 consumer goods. You can institute a crackdown, which increases the army build speed by 50% and increases stronghold build speed by 50%. It also increases the upkeep for soldier jobs by 1 credit and provides an additional 3 stability per soldier job. Not army, but job. Additionally, this will cost you 30 unity per month. If you're thinking about simply resettling the pops across your empire to spread out the effect, preventing the uprising from continuing, don't try it. Every pop you resettle will increase the progress by 5. Effectively, resettling 20 pops equals 1 revolt. As the situation progresses, random events may occur that can increase or decrease the progress of the revolt, as well as introducing penalties to the stability, as well as penalties to the ethics attractions on the planet. Or, even worse, they can gain the support of a foreign empire. Now, let's briefly talk about what happens when this situation reaches the final stage and the revolt actually occurs. When the revolt finally triggers, you will get the option to declare war immediately or start a 10-year truce. The revolting empire will take their home system and any neighboring uninhabited or undefended systems. Past these systems, if you have any systems that neighbor 2 or more of the already converted systems, they will also take those systems. So if the system that is revolting has 2 systems bordering it, and those 2 systems are bordering another system, they can also claim that system. If the revolting empire does not have the support of a foreign empire, they will get a large sum of resources and a fleet up to 80% of their naval cap. If they are supported by a foreign empire, that empire will annex their territory and you will have the option to declare war on them or start the 10-year truce as previously mentioned. Now, this was a lot of information. If you have any questions, please comment down below. If you found this video to be helpful, click the like button down below, and if you would like to be alerted of next week's Dev Diary, please subscribe and ring the bell, or you could join the Discord and get notifications that way. And I hope to see you next week.